Hey folks, welcome back to AAA Farms today. Going to be working on the 96 1-ton, getting it ready. This coming week's the 4th of July week. Luckily I'm off Thursday and Friday, so I'm going to be driving this truck Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to work just because I want to. It's been a while since I've gotten driven. Only things we got to really fix is we got that leak in the heater hose that I caused whenever I was fixing the fuel leak, and then we're going to charge up the AC system as well. But first thing we want to do is let the chickens out so they can run around and eat and free range and all that good stuff. So let's go let them out. Hey chickies. All ready to get out. Alright, let's go get started on the truck. Alright, we got the hood popped open. So if y'all remember from previous video, I was working on a fuel leak here on this regulator. And while laying across this, managed to cut this hose somehow or another. So to get this thing off, all it is that one hose clamp down there. We got another hose clamp over here where it goes through the firewall. So all we're gonna have to do is pull them hose clamps off and we'll put the new hose on. So I measured this hose yesterday morning before I went to work and stopped by O'Reilly's. Yeah, O'Reilly's, and got a new length. I've already double checked to make sure that the length is good. So all we got to do now is pop off these hose clamps and put the new one on, and then we'll crank it, and then we'll have to fill our coolant up, which I also got coolant from O'Reilly's, I believe. And we'll start filling up the AC system, then start charging the AC system just so that we don't burn up. I think it's hitting upper 90s every day now, so it gets super hot during the day and I don't want to not have AC. And that's really all we got to do with this thing to get it ready for this coming week. So let me get everything situated. We'll throw us a little bucket down there to try to catch as much of this coolant as we can. It's not a huge deal if we don't catch it all, but try to keep from making a big old mess. And then you can actually see where the coolant had leaked out onto the belt and pulley a little bit. I suspect most of it's going to be leaked out already since the hole's already there, but we'll see. Got my bucket situated down there. I got a pair of just like needle nose vice grip clamps. Kind of prefer these because it lets you lock them on, and then you can worry about moving up the clamp without having to hold it squeezed as well. So let me see if I can't get this on there. There we go. Get a good bite on it. See how big of a mess we make. Got the bucket down there we're going to shoot for. That was off. Years ago. So very carefully I'm going to take my knife, try to make a small little cut on the side of it, just to try to relieve it a little bit. peeling. There we go. Here's one recommendation I didn't point out. Make sure your vehicle's cold on this. I would even let it sit overnight. I'm gonna go ahead and pull off this hose clamp to reuse. Okay. New one. And we got a little bit of overflow coming from the pump. So I'm going to go ahead and shove this on to try to prevent more loss than we need. There we go. And we can definitely tell how much rigid this thing is versus this. This is pretty flimsy stuff. This is old. Like I said, it's probably never been changed before. See if I can hit the bucket with the rest of this. Okay, nothing else coming out. Okay, make sure I do the right hose here. It's this one. You can even tell where they have like this glue going around the firewall, I guess to seal it a little bit better. It's definitely the first one because it looks like that's encasing this clamp a little bit. Hose clamp out of our way. Let's see. Looks like this thing's loose. Twist and pull, twist and pull. Okay. Alright. There wasn't really that much in there. Yeah, you can just tell by how cruddy that end is. It's an old hose, really old hose. Let's grab our new hose. That's the first thing we're going to do. Let's make sure we feed it through. It's a loop. So, new clamp on it, or our reused clamp. Make sure everything's kind of cleaned up. The fitting actually looks really good condition for it to be what 28 years old now. Yeah, 28 years old. Good fit. Let's see if we can get a clamp back on it. Oh yeah. Oh, I like a glove. I like a glove. Twist it a little bit to get it off this other one. There we go. Good fit. It's gonna ride a little bit better. Before it was rubbing a lot here. I actually got this slightly shorter than what it was before. Before I think it was like 4'2", 4'3". I went with 4 foot. mainly because I wanted to try to see if we could keep the hose off of everything, because the other hose was right on top of the alternator, is right on top of this. This is a windshield wiper fluid container, and it was just rubbing. So now looks like the only place that'll rub is this other hose, which that one has a whole bunch of little T's and stuff, so hopefully it's a while. Well, it ain't that bad. So hopefully we don't have to replace that one too long, because that looks more expensive. This stuff from O'Reilly's was like $2.99 a foot, I think, or something. But this one piece was like $13. The only thing that seems silly is this is they keep a big roll like in the back, and so you just tell them what you need and they'll go cut you a certain length. But they already had some prelim stuff cut on the counter, or not the counter, but like in one of the aisles. And for like a 6-foot section, it was the same price. So, but at that point in time, he'd already cut it before I figured that out. So I was like, yeah, whatever. It's 13 bucks. But okay, let me put this other clamp back on, and then we'll fill up our refrigerant container. Not refrigerant. Oh, been a long week of work. Fill up our coolant container. Okay. Yeah, we'll put some coolant in there, then we'll crank it. It'll circulate the system, and we'll do all that stuff first, because whenever you charge the AC system, you want to put it on max AC. Well, what max AC actually does is you have this valve right here. There's a little vacuum line that goes to it. Let's see if y'all can see that in the camera. Yeah, you can see that down there. Anyway, you got this little valve here. You got a vacuum line that comes to it right here. It goes around, and whenever you kick on max AC, it actuates your valve here, and basically causes it to, I'm trying to remember. Looks like it's stuck in right now. Is that another issue? Oh. That's something we'll have to look at here in a second. Huh. Looks like it's locked in. This valve should normally ride about right here, and that allows your coolant to go to your heater coil, and when it blows across it, that's how you get heat. However, when this valve's sucked in like it currently is, it cuts that off. It actually cuts off the circulation there, and so it keeps all that heat from that coil, which allows you to basically, when you're blowing your fan across it with your air conditioner, it's not heating up your already cold air. That's interesting. Let me see if that still is a problem. Maybe it's left on max AC and so it's stuck. I don't think so, but we'll see. Typically don't keep vacuum pressure when the truck's turning off or the vacuum pump don't. Or at least that's been my experience with my truck. I bet that valve's just stuck. Okay, there it goes. Now it just started holding vacuum a lot better. I think that's all it is. Okay. can't complain about that. Maybe just over using it and stuff, it kind of worked some of that stuff and got it better. But it was keeping it sucked in. So we'll crank it back up since this is working out. It still just has vacuum on it, that's all it feels like. So I crank it back up, I'll let it run some more, let it suck this down to fill up the coil, make sure we get all the air purged out of the system. And then once it's done, it seems like we're staying steady here, we'll make sure we don't have no leaks on either end of the hose. Then we have to kick on max AC, which will pull this in again, and we'll start filling up refrigerant. Alright, we got all that going. We got that valve to release. I went ahead and turned it on max AC, so that valve should start to suck in here. So I got some stop leak. And then I just got some regular R134A. So if you watch the AC compressor right there, you see it engaging and disengaging, engaging and disengaging. That signs that it's slightly low on refrigerant. So my gauge is old, but what you do is you can get a gauge like this. It comes with this little indicator. You see you got red and then the green. So ideally, once we connect up and everything, we wanted to get in that green zone. Blue is too much, red is too little. So we'll hook it up. I'm going to start with the stop leak and fill it up. With the stop leak, you want to make sure you shake it up very well. When I first started working on the AC system on this truck was years ago, I actually got a vacuum for this. I pulled a vacuum on it because this always had AC problems since I've had the truck. I pulled a vacuum on it and left vacuum overnight. It's holding vacuum. So I went ahead and changed the high end and low end fill ports, thinking that's where it was. That's where the vacuum connects. So if you have a leak there, it's leaking straight into the vacuum. So it's hard to indicate if that's the problem or not. But I left the vacuum on it overnight and it didn't lose any vacuum. So I went ahead and replaced both of them ports, which on this side is this shredder valve. It's a high port, and then the low port is right there. So that one I had to change out the whole accumulator and everything. So I'm gonna go ahead and hook this up and start filling up. Got it filled up. I told y'all wrong a minute ago, so I'm gonna correct myself. Blue is low, green good, red bad. Red's too much pressure, blue's not enough pressure, green's the zone you want to be in. So this gauge right here, I bought with a Supertech can. For those that don't know, that's a Walmart thing. This can's like 10 bucks. The stop leaks, I think like $9. This gauge I've been having, but I bought it with a big Supertech bottle. It's seen its finer days. The little bill's gone, so it hurts to use a little bit. And then you can barely see the gauge. You can make out the color to it, but that's about it. So yeah, I'm hoping that stop leak does some magic. If I end up having to do this again, I'm probably gonna try a different brand. mainly because I'm going to have to get a new gauge because I don't like not being able to really see, and then that kind of sucks to hurt. So obviously I'm not going to put the full length of how long this took, but it took about 17 minutes. I'm not going to make y'all watch me hold a can for 17 minutes. So that just kind of gives you an idea. It does take a little bit of time. One trick you can do too to build pressure up quicker is you can hold this can upside down and it lets the liquid kind of shoot in there. You gotta be cautious when you do that because it can damage your system. And if you ever get to a point that is so low that your clutch is not engaging at all, that's something you can do as well to get pressure in there. Because once that thing gets to, it only kicks on when it sees a certain pressure. I don't know what that pressure is, and it might be different per vehicle. But basically, once that needle hits about midway on this green, it'll kick on, and then it'll run until it hits about where the blue is, and then it shuts off. And so that's to keep from damaging your system, damage your compressor. But anyway, so if it's ever so low that the clutch won't kick on, that's a trick you can do. I had to do that the first time when I pulled vacuum on this, or the only time I pulled vacuum, but when I pulled vacuum on it to get all the air out of it after I changed the accumulator and everything, I had to hold that can upside down to get enough pressure just for this to kick on. But once that started kicking on, you can hold it right side up and it will fill up. It just takes a little bit of time. Put this cap back on. So normally you don't have to use pliers to get these caps off, but I got an O-ring on the inside of mine to try to help seal a little bit better. I just haven't took the O-ring out, but before I change this out, Ford has this, for this year anyway, the little valve's like a little ball valve, and they're notorious for leaking because basically they're great until you mess with them, and then once you mess with them, you don't know if that ball is sitting in the exact same location, and it allows like a little micro leak. So one of the things I read that people suggested is you put an O-ring in that cap, and so the cap will seal it off, and it basically, even if the ball leaks, it doesn't matter because the cap's sealing it off. This new one, the new accumulator that I changed out, it actually has a Schrader valve in it, so not that big of a deal anymore. I just haven't took the time to take this O-ring out, and I don't really see the harm of having it on there. So, but I'm gonna put this cap back on, and then we'll see how cold the AC is getting on the inside. One thing I will point out, fuel level's still good. That valve is shut off though because max AC's on. One thing that's kind of frustrating me a little bit though, if y'all remember last time I worked on the truck, it's because we had a fuel leak right there. And if you watch very closely, zoom in. You can see we got that fuel leak back again. So what it is that there's a big O-ring on the bottom of this where the return goes back to the filter. Last time, I guess that O-ring got pinched when I changed out all the O-rings in that. This time I think it was sealing, and now it's not sealing. So I'm thinking it's probably, I put the old O-ring back in, so that O-ring probably just failed because it's probably the same O-ring that's been in it since 1996. I'm having a hard time. The cheap option to do would be buy another O-ring. But I'm really getting frustrated with the fuel leaks on this fuel ball, and if I had the money right now, it wouldn't be that big a deal because I would swap out to just a direct fuel line, which replaces the little mechanical fuel pump, add some inline canisters, you get better fuel pressure, you get a little bit more performance, and you can handle bigger injectors. So eventually I'm going to go that route no matter what, but right now I just don't have I think it's like $1,000 for the system, something like that, around that number. And I just don't have that money to spend. So, probably gonna order O-ring. I got a couple other things I'm gonna have to order here pretty soon, so I'll probably just throw a rebuild kit just so I make sure I get the right O-ring in there and go from there. So, kind of sucks I don't have any way to really measure the temperature coming out of this, but I can tell you it feels great. It feels really, really nice. I'm really thinking my gray truck over there might be time. It's a 2015 with 115,000 miles on, 116,000 miles on it now. The AC in it does not seem to blow as cold as this truck. This truck just blows cold, and it feels really good in here right now. Barring that it is still morning time. I think I got out of here early. I got out of here like 7 to start on this before everything got super hot. So it's probably about 9 o'clock. Let me see what time. 9:03. So it's 9:03 right now. Feels really good in the truck. Might come out here just for giggles at noon to see how cold it gets in, because it's the hottest part of the day, about noon, 1 o'clock, and see if it stays cold then. Very happy with this. I can't tell you, I got this truck when I was 16, and all through high school, it was pretty much you rolled the windows down, and you had these little, this is back when you had the little smoke windows, I guess, so you could open that and it flips in and actually forces air in. It was nice and great back then, but I then got spoiled to air conditioning. Once I got the truck after that was an 08 F-150 that I bought in there, and it's just nice having AC. But once I got this truck back from my folks, I got to working on AC and reading a lot more into it, and I have a little bit more cash flow than I did when I was 16, and I work on a lot of stuff now. So being able to get this thing working is great. But I'm not going to keep going any longer. I plan on driving this truck to work the next 3 days, which will be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday now. July 1st, 2nd, 3rd, I'll be driving this truck to work. It's my plan, unless something goes wrong. And just because I want to, it's slightly more fuel efficient than that truck. My Camry that I used to drive is actually my wife's Camry. It's a 2014 Camry. Process of fixing it up for my oldest boy. He just turned 17, so we're giving him that car. So I'm down to my trucks, and in a week I think I saved like $5 if I drive my diesel versus that's a gas burner, the gray one. And so I think it's like 14. This one gets 18, even with the fuel leak. Be curious to see what it gets now. I know it still has a fuel leak, but that fuel leak's nowhere near as bad as it was with the mechanical fuel pump. But need to do something about that fuel leak, which, like I said, I got to order some stuff, and I'll probably just go ahead and order an O-ring with it to fix this. But be curious to see what it does without any fuel leak, and then be really curious to see what it does once I finally do upgrade into that little fuel injector system. Very fond of this truck. Plan on keeping this truck until the day I die, or until it dies. And honestly, prices of vehicles nowadays, probably just going to buy a new motor and shove it in here. So, it's funny because I got to looking the other day. So that truck I bought in 2015, and it's an F-250 XLT 4-wheel drive with a rear locking differential, with the gooseneck set up in the back. And I bought it, tax, title, license, and everything for like 40 grand. That exact same truck, except for, today's model, it's like $84,000. For $84,000, I can build the shop that I want, and I can buy a motor for this truck and replace it and all the tools needed, and still save about 20 grand. So we'll just have to see when the time comes, because I can't justify $84,000 on a truck. That's just crazy. Anyway, I'm gonna stop rambling. I hope y'all kind of enjoyed this video a little bit. I know I did. I had fun, but I love working on this truck. Very proud of it. It's funny because I think it kind of blows my wife mind sometimes, because I like this truck more than the new one. And the new one has a lot more technology and amenities, and it does ride better. It's going to ride a lot better when I replace the body mounts that failed on the 2015. Even though my 96 still has the same body mounts that came with off the factory, and it has triple the mileage. It's so frustrating about the body mounts. Anyway, getting off sidetrack. Y'all have a wonderful day. I plan on it. Thank y'all for joining me on the farm today. Y'all have a nice one.